Well, this is John Black, Super Chemist. We're on a playlist called, if you want to watch all the videos in order, go to my playlist. It's called All I Know About Wives / Marriage / Family / Psychology. I think this is part 11, maybe? I don't know. But anyways, I'm just basically, these last two videos are just reiterating what I said in the first 6 videos, but I'm adding, something I forgot to talk about. Like this starts out with selfish. Women are selfish and men are unselfish. The opposite of self. They're takers and we are givers. Okay. And I told you about, that's why I'm bringing it up again, is because I've told you about how biology dictates this. It's a survival mechanism. Okay. Women are weak. They quit back in the caveman times. They would die if they didn't have someone protecting them and helping them, right? So they had to be takers. They couldn't go get their crap themselves. They had to be. By biology, they would not survive. And if the woman didn't survive, then the man wouldn't survive because they need to make babies. Now the man comes along. He has to be a giver. If he wasn't a giver and all he cared about himself, then all the women would die, right? And then he wouldn't have babies, and they would, that's why biology dictates that they are takers, and biology dictates that men are givers. That's why this BS that how women are nurturing and this and that, and they're just givers. No, bull. And I just explained right now and before that why are they or not. Because if they weren't selfish and we weren't giving, if they weren't the takers and we weren't the givers, our species would not survive. Okay, so it had to be that way. Okay, that's a good thing. Okay, but then you say, well, today, blah, 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 it's all different because we're not cavemen. Okay, well, here's your example then. What happens when a man, let's say I go up to a poor man and I give him $100,000, right? What's that man say? He's only making 30 grand a year or something, 35 grand a year, 40 grand. You give him 100 grand, you know what he'll say? He'll say, you know what? I could buy a house with this so I can buy, start a family, share my house with my wife and my kids, But if he has, I'll spend this on a business so that I can save up money so I can have, share it with my wife and kids. It's always goes with, and don't get me wrong, men can be selfish. I'm just saying overall in a biological stance on it, men usually are thinking about how they can help their family and share their stuff. And if they don't, if that wasn't true, then why do men share all their stuff? Then he goes out and works. He pays all the bills. He shares everything. Like what the hell? What the hell does the woman share? Even when the woman today, when she's a boss babe, she doesn't want to pay anything. Her money is her money. His money is their money. She doesn't share. And that's in today's time. She doesn't have to do that. It's not because of survival. Why does she do it? Why is she still selfish, even though she doesn't have to be selfish? It's in her biology. She can't overcome her biology. The bear you can take the bear and the white lion or tiger and take them to Vegas and put him on a tricycle, make balls balance on his nose, and yeah. You can do that for so long, but then biology will kick in and the bear will, it doesn't matter who will eat you. It doesn't matter how much you pet the bear, how much you love the bear, how much you feed the bear. The bear is going to be a bear, okay? And what happens when a woman did you ever hear of a woman, ever, that got a bunch of money and she's like, oh, I can go buy a house to start a family. No, she says I can go out and buy a $1,000 Gucci bag, purse or something. I can go to Dubai or I can go to France. That's what a woman says when she gets $100,000. But she isn't selfish, and the man is. Make sense of it. The only way you can make sense of it is that we've been brainwashed, and we're just watching TV, sitcoms, and movies, watching these feminists indoctrinate the colleges, and then the teachers go up into the public schools and indoctrinate them. The news, more indoctrination, books, everything is indoctrinated. to tell us that men are selfish and toxic, even though we know just by opening our eyes, they're the ones giving. The women are the ones taking, always. Even when the woman has $1 million in the bank, she will not share that $1 million. It will always be the man. You know, I've been women making 50 grand a year. I'm making like 16,000 a year, and yet I paid for everything like a fool, like an idiot. Anyways, let's see here. So that's my example of women being selfish in the modern times. It's not just about, you know, they are that way today because of biology. But I'm just saying, you can't say, oh, today it's different. Women don't have to, you know. Yeah, it's not different because you can't get over your biology. Women are horrible because men are bad leaders. Obviously, I don't mean all women, but what I'm saying is, as a good leader, put it this way: who screws up first? Does the man first be a bad leader, and then the woman follows his lead and she becomes a bad follower, or does the man come in and he's first? He's the good leader, and then the woman follows his lead and becomes a good follower. You know what I mean? If you got a good leader, the followers will respect him. The followers will try to do better. Try to please him. It's like in the military or anywhere. You know what I mean? So it's the man's fault. Okay, if your woman isn't being the way she's supposed to be, then whose fault is it? It's your fault. Number one, it was your duty as a Pastafarian and as a man to pick a good woman. Okay, and if you're picking a boss babe, you already proved you're a lousy, horrible leader, and that leads them. See, now you led them into being a horrible woman, wife. You know what I mean? You did it. If you would have led them into, if you would have been a good leader, right, and that would lead them by example into them being good followers, right? And you'll say, well, how do I get them to change? You don't. That's the whole point. A good leader picks one that you don't have to change. They're already submissive. They're already the way they are supposed to be, the way God made them, or the way nature made them, whatever you want to say. Anyways, and I wanted to bring up this thing about the man on the plane, because a couple videos ago I was talking about the caveman, the good leader who ate first and made sure his belly was full before the wife and the kids ate. And then when the bear came, he was strong enough to kill the bear off with a spear. And he cared more about saving his family or protecting his family. He cared more about that more than the wife and the kids' feelings, because obviously when they see him eating every day first, and sometimes they ain't getting no food at all, right? Their conscience is going to be like, hey man, that guy screwed up, but their biology knows, and it kicks in and it makes them love him. You know what I mean? But he cared. He didn't put his emotions. He didn't say, oh, my kids and wife, they might not like me as much, so I'm gonna feed them first. He didn't do that. He didn't put his emotions over facts. Being a little simp, he was a man. Okay. Then you had the other one, right, who let the woman eat first, and then when they were full, the kid snapped. Then he took his. But when the bear came, right, he was dwindled down. Yeah, sure, the kids and the woman were healthy, but who cares if they're if they're dead? He cared about those feelings. He put it over being a good leader. He was a bad leader, and that's why his woman treated him bad. You know what I mean? Even though he was giving her everything, she was probably treating him like crap. And the reason why is because her biomechanism, her survival mechanism that controls her subconscious was telling her, this guy's going to get me killed. You know what I mean? So it goes back to on a plane, just like on a plane. What do they always tell you? If there's no oxygen, the thing will come down with the thing you put on your face, right? So for oxygen. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to say, screw everybody else first and put your mask on first. That way, in case you get, if you put it on them first, right, you could black out. And then who's going to put it on you, right? So now you're dead. But if you put it on you and they black out, well, so what? You just hurry up and put them. It only takes a minute to put a mask on, or seconds. Now you put the mask on them, they get oxygen, and they'll start breathing. You know what I mean? They'll black out, but they won't die. They'll come back to consciousness, and everyone will be alive. See how that works? That's the difference between a good leader and a bad leader. The bad leader cares about emotions instead of facts and helps out the little kid, and then he ends up dying, and now the little kid survives and has no dad. You know what I mean? So, women say they need a nest egg because men leave them. The nest egg, they actually just want the nest egg so they can leave you. It's not because you might leave them. They might want to use you as long as they can. So my whole point with this one is I'm saying women's excuse that they need to work, like, I need to work. What do they always say? Because if my man leaves me, I'm going to be up craps, creek or whatever, I have to have that, whatever. Now, keep in mind, when you pull any group of couples, okay, or any group of people, right, 95%, and I'm not talking about marriages, I'm talking about dating, you know what I mean, when you're dating, 95% of relationships are ended by women, okay? We always think that the man leaves. This is a lie. The man doesn't leave. The man never leaves. Because if the man left, 100% of Gen Z women, almost 99% of Gen Z women are too bearable for anyone to stand, and yet they're the ones who are leaving the relationship. And you know what I mean? How is that? And then obviously men will take anything, put up for anything. But 95% of relationships are ended by women. Then you go to the marriage, right? 80% of divorces are initiated by women, and most of them, like 95% of them, are all no contest, meaning no one was at fault, no fault divorce. Yeah, he was a great husband, did everything right. Just not feeling it. That's all. They don't even have reasons. They just leave because they feel like leaving. And yet, we believe that men are the abandoners? How are we the abandoners if 95% of relationships are ended by women? How are we the abandoners if 80% of women divorce their husband? 80% of the divorces are initiated by the women, and 95% of those are just no contest, meaning there's no reason. None. They just know that the law will give them half of the house, half of the money, and all of the children. So, hey, there's no downside in their mind at that point. Okay, what else? Oh, yeah, so that's what they're being brainwashed to think that they need that, because the brainwashing, obviously feminism is because they want chicks to work, because if you double the workforce, that means you can, lower the rate of pay that you pay them, right? If you got a job and you got 10 jobs and you got 10 men, then you got to pay them accordingly. But if you got 10 jobs and you got 10 men and 10 women, now you can pay them pennies on a dollar because there's so many of them. Anyways, that's the end of this one. Remember, apostrophe God's the only true and one God.